The conference hall of Stellar Haven Station hung suspended in the void, a pearl caught between dimensions. Its see-through walls gave a stunning view of the swirling nebula outside, but inside, you could taste the tension. Ambassador Rebecca Torres stood before the oldest civilizations in the known galaxy. Her small human frame was nothing next to creatures built for dominance. Rebecca was 47, her auburn hair in a simple bun, her gray suit perfect even after 3 sleepless nights. For 4 years, she'd been Earth's voice at the Galactic Assembly. 4 long years of watching humanity get treated like a kid at the grown-ups table. Behind her, her aide, David Park, nervously fiddled with his tablet. His hands were shaking. You couldn't blame him. Hostile eyes from across the cosmos were locked on them. The Draknir representative, General Voss, slowly rose from his seat. His species had conquered 17 star systems before humans even figured out the wheel. His obsidian scales shone like polished armor in the starlight. When he spoke, his voice was like distant thunder. We have tolerated human presence in this assembly out of courtesy, Voss began, his vertical pupils narrowing to slits. But courtesy has its limits. The Draknir Collective has claimed the Epsilon sector. These 12 systems contain resources vital to our continued expansion. Any species that interferes will discover why we have remained undefeated for 6,000 years. Rebecca's heart hammered against her ribs, but her voice was a steady rock. Those systems are inhabited, General. 2 million colonists call those worlds home. The Galactic Charter forbids the seizure of populated systems. A sound like shattering glass echoed through the room. It was laughter. Laughter from the crystalline chorus, a species of silicon-based beings who spoke in harmonic frequencies. Their lead speaker, Prismara, chimed in. The translator turned their song into words of cold amusement. The Charter applies to civilizations capable of defending their claims. Humanity fields warships that would have been obsolete in our ancestors' time. Perhaps the Charter was not written with such primitive species in mind. David leaned forward, whispering urgently. Ambassador, the Meridian Coalition is signaling support. Rebecca glanced at their sector. They were a younger alliance, but even they looked hesitant. Their commander, a mantis-like being named Teskor, made a gesture of sympathy, but his voice remained silent. Sympathy without action? That's just another word for abandonment. The assembly exploded into chaos. Voices shouted in languages from worlds humanity had never even seen. Some demanded military action against the Draknir. Others suggested economic sanctions. But many, far too many, just called for humanity to surrender the Epsilon sector to avoid bloodshed. As if the colonists were just bargaining chips, not living people with families, dreams, and the right to exist without fear. Voss raised one massive clawed hand. Silence fell like a heavy curtain. His species just had that effect. When a Draknir spoke, you either listened or you became a bloody footnote in a history book. I will give humanity one standard week, he declared. Evacuate the Epsilon sector completely, or my fleets will do it for you. Your ships cannot stand against even one of our battle cruisers. This is not negotiation, this is mercy. Rebecca stared him down, unflinching. And if we refuse? The Draknir general smiled, showing rows of serrated teeth designed for tearing flesh. Then you will learn why younger species whisper our name in the dark. My flagship alone masses 8 million tons and carries enough firepower to crack a moon. You have destroyers my scouts could eliminate without breaking formation. Mathematics does not lie, Ambassador. Neither does history. She wanted to fight back, to lay out all the diplomatic plans Earth's best minds had spent weeks crafting. But as she looked around the chamber, at every shifting posture, every flicker of bioluminescence, the hard truth settled in. No one believed humanity could stand against the Draknir. Even worse, no one really cared if they tried. The Luminar Sovereignty's eldest representative, a being called Orthus, who was just a pattern of light in a containment field, finally spoke. His voice carried the weight of ages. Let us vote. All in favor of supporting human territorial claims in the Epsilon sector with military force. Signal now. Rebecca held her breath. The chamber remained dark. Not one delegate lit up their voting indicator. Even the seemingly sympathetic Meridian Coalition stayed dark. In the cold language of interstellar politics, silence is a death sentence. Very well, Orthus continued, his light pulsing with something that might have been regret, or maybe just indifference. Humanity has 1 week to evacuate. The Assembly will take no action regarding Draknir expansion into the Epsilon sector. This matter is closed. Rebecca felt David's hand on her arm, steadying her. She realized she was shaking, not with fear, but with a rage so pure it felt like fire in her veins. Around them, delegates started filing out, already moving on to the next item on their agenda, the fate of 2 million human lives decided in less than 20 minutes. As they walked toward the exit, Voss cut them off. He loomed over Rebecca. When he spoke, there was a strange hint of curiosity in his voice. Tell me, Ambassador, why does Earth persist in these delusions of relevance? You have nothing we want, nothing we fear, nothing we need. You are insects building anthills in the shadow of mountains. Accept your place in the natural order. Rebecca looked up at him, and for the first time in her 4 years of service, she let a smile touch her lips. It wasn't a nice smile. General Voss, she said quietly, have you ever heard the human saying about sleeping giants? He tilted his massive head, confused. No. Enlighten me. Some things look small and weak because they choose to. Some things stay quiet because the noise they could make would frighten everyone, including themselves. And some things, General, only look like insects until you see what they become when threatened. The Draknir laughed, a booming sound that echoed through the emptying chamber. Brave words from a species with no bite. Rebecca's smile widened just a fraction. We will see. And with that, a single word, she walked away, leaving the most feared warrior in the galaxy with a flicker of doubt. The stage was set, the gauntlet thrown. The galaxy thought it knew humanity, but it was about to learn a very hard lesson. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey today. If you enjoyed this story and want to find out what happens when humanity awakens, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We've got so much more to explore together. See you in the next one. The journey back to Earth was a 3-day nightmare through the quantum relay network. For Rebecca, sleep was a forgotten luxury. David, ever the optimist, tried to soothe her with statistics and contingency plans. But the cold comfort of numbers felt hollow now. 2 million people. 1 week. 1 week to abandon everything they'd ever known or face complete annihilation. The weight of it was a physical pressure, a crushing force against her chest. When they finally stepped into the Geneva Command Center, the atmosphere was suffocating. Military advisors crowded the briefing room, their faces etched with the deep lines of exhaustion that come from planning for the impossible. At the head of the table stood Fleet Admiral James Okonkwo, a man whose long, distinguished career was now confronting its darkest hour. The lines on his face seemed to have deepened overnight, his uniform a tapestry of decorations from conflicts most citizens had long forgotten. How bad is it? Rebecca asked, though she already knew the answer. Admiral Okonkwo gestured to a holographic display flickering to life, showing the Epsilon sector. Bad doesn't begin to cover it, he said, his voice grim. The Draknir are deploying 3 full battle groups, 18 heavy cruisers, 47 destroyers, and their flagship, the Worldbreaker. Our entire defensive fleet consists of 23 ships, none larger than a frigate. In a direct engagement, we would last approximately 14 minutes. From the tactical station, a young officer named Lieutenant Grace Winters spoke up, her voice tight with a desperate, barely controlled emotion. Her sister lived on Epsilon 4 with her family. What about evacuation? Can we get everyone out in time? Another officer shook his head, the motion slow and defeated. The logistics are impossible. We'd need 200 transport ships making continuous runs. We have 37, total. And the Draknir are already positioning blockade forces. They want to make this hurt. A sharp crack echoed through the room as Rebecca slammed her hand on the table, the sound surprising even herself. Then we fight, she declared, her voice ringing with defiance. We buy time for whatever evacuations we can manage. We show them that humanity does not surrender its people to monsters. A heavy silence fell. Everyone in that room understood the unspoken truth. They would all die, and they would barely slow the Draknir advance. But the alternative, abandoning 2 million souls without even trying, was unthinkable. Admiral Okonkwo studied her for a long moment, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes, before giving a slow, deliberate nod. There is one option we haven't discussed. Something that has been classified at the highest levels for 70 years. I need authorization code Alpha 7 from the Security Council before I can proceed. The tension in the room instantly shifted, becoming a palpable electric current. What are you talking about? Rebecca asked. The Admiral's expression remained a mask. During humanity's expansion into deep space, we discovered something, an abandoned facility in the Kuiper Belt, hidden in the shadow of a rogue planetoid. New images materialized in the hologram, and Rebecca gasped. The structure dwarfed anything she had ever seen, a vessel so utterly massive it seemed impossible. The design was undeniably human, yet its scale defied all comprehension. It stretched across the screen like a floating city, its hull marked with symbols she recognized from ancient Earth databases. Project Sanctuary, Okonkwo continued, his voice low. Built in secret during the early colonial era by a coalition of nations that saw the dangers of space long before we encountered them. They pooled resources, technology, and the brightest minds from every field. The project consumed the wealth of nations and required breakthroughs that rewrote our physics textbooks. They built humanity's insurance policy, a ship designed for one purpose, to ensure our species would never be helpless among the stars. David whispered, his voice full of awe. How big is it? 47 kilometers long. Mass approximately 900 million tons. The ship contains weapons systems based on theoretical physics that most species consider science fiction. Quantum disruptor cannons, gravitational shear generators, matter conversion reactors. It was designed to operate with a crew of 5,000, but can function with minimal personnel using artificial intelligence systems that make our modern computers look like abacuses. Lieutenant Winters leaned forward, hope and disbelief warring on her face. If this ship exists, why have we never used it? Why let the galaxy treat us like weaklings for decades? Because the ship terrified the people who built it, Okonkwo said quietly. Initial tests demonstrated capabilities that made our creators question whether humanity should possess such power. The vessel could theoretically crack a planet's crust or destabilize a star. The decision was made to hide it, to keep it secret unless humanity faced extinction. We chose to appear weak rather than become the monsters we feared. Rebecca's pulse quickened. A new, fierce hope surged through her veins. Can it be activated? After 70 years? The Admiral nodded. A skeleton crew has maintained it in secret, running diagnostics, updating systems, training for a day we all hoped would never come. The ship is fully operational. It has been waiting in the dark all this time, hidden from every sensor scan, every intelligence network. The galaxy thinks humanity fields nothing larger than frigates, because that is what we have shown them. And in that moment she understood. She understood the true weight of the decision before them. If they revealed Sanctuary, if they deployed this hidden titan, the galaxy would never see humanity the same way again. Trust would shatter. Fear would replace dismissal. They would become the unknown quantity, the terrifying power that kept other species awake at night. But 2 million people needed saving, and 2 million lives, weighed against political considerations, felt like no choice at all. Get me authorization from the Security Council, Rebecca said, her voice firm, resolute. And prepare the ship for deployment. The Draknir wanted to teach us our place in the natural order. Let's show them that humanity learned a different lesson from history. A small, grim smile touched Admiral Okonkwo's lips. The ship already has a crew standing by. Captain Thomas Reeves, one of our best tactical minds. He's been training for this scenario his entire career. How long until Sanctuary can reach the Epsilon sector? David asked. 48 hours at maximum quantum drive, the Admiral replied. The Draknir will never see us coming. Their intelligence shows only our conventional fleet. General Voss thinks he's facing insects. Rebecca looked at the image of the massive vessel, humanity's secret weapon, their hidden guardian. She thought about all the times they had been mocked, dismissed, treated as irrelevant. They had endured it all because the alternative was to reveal their true, terrifying capabilities. Now that long-held patience would pay dividends, measured in lives saved and enemies shocked into silence. "Send the message to Captain Reeves," she ordered, her voice resonating with newfound power. "Tell him the sleeping giant is waking up, and tell our people in the Epsilon sector to hold on just a little longer. Help is coming, and the universe is about to learn that humanity has teeth after all." Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey today. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more like it, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us bring more of these worlds to life. We'll see you in the next one. The Worldbreaker hung in space above Epsilon 4, a monument to inevitable conquest. On his command deck, General Voss watched the human colony below with boredom. His tactical officer reported the human defensive fleet assembling, 23 small vessels in a pathetic formation. "They actually intend to fight," his second-in-command noted with amusement. Voss flexed his claws. "Let them. Their bravery might earn them a quick death." Then, a quantum distortion. "Something large is emerging from faster-than-light travel," the sensor officer announced, his voice cracking. "The computer is showing 900 million tons. Impossible." Before Voss could order a rescan, reality tore open. Through the rupture emerged a vessel of incomprehensible scale, a city given wings, its hull the color of deep ocean waters. It moved with impossible grace. The Draknir warriors felt something they hadn't experienced in generations: fear. "They're hailing us," the comms officer trembled. "It's the UHCV sanctuary."